Good evening to those watching. Since we don't have anybody in the audience here tonight, let's all stand and say the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Phillips, would you please call the roll?
Brian Bagwell. Here. Taylor Christian.
Here.
Terry Lally.
Here.
Amy White.
Here.
Ralph Wentz.
Here. First item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from the regular meeting held on May the 18th, 2020. Are there any additions or corrections to those? And if there is not, I would entertain a motion to accept them.
I'll motion.
Amy moves. Can I have a second?
I'll second.
Terry seconds. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And on to Mr. Phillips and the Treasurer's report.
Okay, our regular general fund had a balance at the end of April of $3,881,263.13. You'll notice right below that a negative $2,000. That's a special cost center of the general fund specifically for buses. And a little later in the meeting, we'll be asking for a special meeting to do appropriations as we do every year. And at that meeting, we do transfers and advances. And we'll be asking to transfer $2,000 from the regular general fund into the bus general fund to take care of that on June 29th. Towards the end, all the grants, the negatives there, I did a, on June 1st, I believe it was, I did a cash request to try to minimize the amount of advances that we'll have. However, payrolls will occur all through June. The Ohio Department of Education shuts down cash requests on June 12th, so I won't be able to, there'll be 2 payrolls on there that I won't be able to claim until after. So we will be advancing some money for the grants. Our total, all funds, is $5,516,946.87. And of that total, we have at Farmers Bank in the sweep $4,389,678.16. And I'll remind you that we just finished collections for the spring tax at the end of April going into May. Home Savings Bank, $1,043,871.47. Star Ohio, $241,207.93. We had outstanding general fund checks, $158,590.69. Our petty cash accounts, $780, and that math does work out, $5,516,946.87. And I can entertain any questions on this report, the appropriations report, the revenue report, and the disbursements report, if there are any.
Okay, are there any questions for Mr. Phillips? If not, I'd entertain a motion to accept the Treasurer's report.
I motion.
Terry motions. Do I have a second?
Second.
Taylor seconds. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And on to new business. And I do not believe that we have any district reports tonight unless Taylor.
We do not have any district reports,
okay.
Mr. Wentz.
And Terry, you said nothing either. Okay. Next up would be the Raider before and after care program that we've continued to have for a number of years there. Mr. Dunham, would you like to speak to that briefly?
And once again, just asking for your continued support and approval of Jennifer Frank as the before and after care Raider before and after care program director coordinator. As you are well aware, the program steadily shown an increase in enrollment and in profit over the past 4 years, and probably now more than ever, it's a very worthy service that will be needed come fall. So I'd strongly recommend approval of that program.
Okay, next up would be the annual transferring of funds from the class of 2020 to the class of 2021, once all the expenses are accounted for, and that again's a normal thing if you...
Correct,
Yeah,
yes.
no.
There are some funds left in the class of 20 who would transfer over to class of 21. Again, all of those funds are worthy and are used and are worthwhile use for other resources in the building for our class of 21 and beyond.
Okay, next up would be what Mr. Phillips was alluding to a few minutes ago, a special board meeting to close the year out on June the 29th. We need a minimum of 3 of us there. Anything to add to that, Mr. Phillips?
Not but annual, as you said, Mr. Wentz, it's an annual event. Usually I have it on the last day of the year, but the 29th, if we're not wrapped up then, because of the COVID and everything, there's not a lot going on that I need that extra day. So.
Next up would be the drug and alcohol testing for the 2021 school year, which is policy 2431.02. Mr. Dunham, would you speak to that?
Last year in June, this was recommended and approved by the board, and doing the same again this year. This was first implemented in 2014, recommending the continuation of the testing program. I believe the program still brings tremendous value to our district and is warranted.
Next up would be our agreement for the 2021 school year with Beaver Township and the school resource officer.
You can see our school resource officer, just like some of the other resolutions this evening, it's very warranted. Our school resource officer for the 2021 school year, the district portion will be $36,350 for the entire year. I've said in the past, we're fortunate to be able to collaborate and work with Beaver Township Police from a financial perspective and also from a safety perspective.
Next up would be the removal of textbooks and library materials from inventory.
You have a list that was electronically sent to you, a number of pages of outdated textbooks, library materials that will be taken out of inventory. We declare them to be of little value. Mr. Pagnotta would donate them or otherwise dispose of those textbooks and resource materials. Again, you do have a list that is attached electronically, or maybe if you would like to see it, I do have a hard copy of the list.
Yeah, we received the list electronically there today. Career and technical waiver resolution.
The Ohio Department of Education is mandated, required beginning in 15-16, so this has been several years now that we've been doing this. Boards of Education must expand career and technical education to 7th and 8th graders unless there's a waiver. And that's what I'm suggesting, recommending that a waiver is obtained from the Ohio Department of Education. Presently, we don't have the personnel or the funding to be in compliance, thus the request for the 2021 waiver. If it's approved, then I would submit the waiver to ODE. So we've been, again, for the last 5 years, this has been a CTE, Career Technical Education waiver.
Next would be the resolution approving the paper administration of the 3rd grade English language arts assessment for the 2021 school year.
Once again, an annual resolution, and we had great success last year. 2 years ago, the 3rd grade English language arts assessment was given via Chromebooks. We really felt that our kids just weren't ready for those devices, so we went back to paper pencil. And this is an exception as per Senate Bill 216. We had much better results, and we felt this is still the best direction for test administration for the 2021 school year. So asking the board to allow us to ask for that exception for ELA tests rather than on computers, but paper pencil administered.
Okay, and the last item on the agenda for on regular items is the authorization for per diem payment for transition services. for Bethany here. So,
I can talk, or Mr. Phillips, whatever you
yeah, I
would
mean,
like to do.
or I can talk a little to it. So as we look to transition from Mr. Dunham to Mrs. Carlson, as it says here, we're looking in the month of July to make that transition, and Mrs. Carlson's contract does not start until August 1st, am I correct? And runs through July 31st. But obviously, as we transition, we would like for her to continue to be a little more active in, as Mr. Dunham is working at leaving and her. So this would allow us to pay her on a daily rate for no more than 25 days at $384.62. And obviously, if she needs to be here certain days, she will. If she doesn't, she won't. So I don't know if any of the
And to
board.
add to it, Mrs. Carlson and I have been working through the last several months, and as we get closer to the end of June, we've continued to ramp that up. We have some days scheduled in the next several weeks. I'll be talking about a reentry plan, and there's a lot of work, obviously, to personally for me, what July looks like with vacation and things of that nature. So essentially, Mrs. Carlson can get in here and start making a difference throughout the month of June and July.
Okay, that's all of the regular agenda items. Is there anybody, can't see, just wait up there. Anybody have any questions for public participation for June agenda items?
I'd like to speak a little bit about the, I guess, more, I'm going to be voting against the drug testing policy, and then I also just wanted more of a curiosity question for the paper administration of the testing. As far as the drug testing, I think it's important that we make sure kids know the dangers, and we do have some programs for that. And I think we have to make sure that I think parents need to make sure that they're talking to their kids. I'm just a little uncomfortable because with the students that are driving, we are kind of casting as large a net as we possibly can to search and seize students, which I'm just not really comfortable with a government entity doing that. But I did look it up. So I mean, if you're a parent that's concerned your student or your child might be doing drugs, Amazon has drug tests for like $10. So please, like I said, don't get me wrong. It's important we make sure kids aren't doing drugs. But at the same time, when it's a government entity doing large sweeping searches like that, I don't really support that. As far as the paper administration, do we kind of know why kids don't do as well on the Chromebooks? I'm just curious about that.
I can answer some of that question directly, and I'm sure Mrs. Carlson, she's more geared with that elementary. Many of our kids just don't have the devices. They may have a device, but it's not a Chromebook. And some of the keyboard, the functionality of that particular device is different than what they're used to. And some of the reading is very difficult. It could be page breaks. It's just not as fluid as on a piece of paper. I think that will change in time as kids get devices in their hands earlier. I think it would be more practical for them, but we saw a definite difference in achievement, paper pencil versus devices. If there's more to that or not.
We actually did the same thing with Sheridan what we found in the kids, the way the test is structured, it's not just an ABC question, the ABC might be in a paragraph. They don't know how to use a touchscreen. They don't know how to manipulate a mouse at that age. They don't know how to refer to the writing. They have to write right across, which means they type them. So it's not age appropriate yet. But again, yes, as we get Chromebooks in their hands in first and second grade, they're learning the skills. Maybe change, but I know for my students, I saw a huge increase in students pass paper pencil, and the kids enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, I know we made this decision last year too, but last year was more of a trial, right?
Correct.
Okay. I mean, I kind of figured it would be better, especially coming from, you said you talked to all the teachers, the principals, everything like that. Seems like everyone was behind it.
100% with the
yeah.
continuation of this.
Yeah, no, I was just kind of curious as to possibly why, but yeah, I think you guys are probably hitting the nail on the head there.
Okay, we'll go back through the agenda items, first being the before and after care program for the 2021 school year. May I have a motion for that?
So moved.
Taylor moves. May I have a second?
Second.
Brian seconds. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The transfer of funds from the class of 2020 to the class of 2021. May I have a motion for that?
I'll motion.
Terry motions. May I have a second?
Second.
Amy seconds. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Special board meeting for June 29th at 7 o'clock a.m. over at the board office, correct?
Yes.
May I have a motion for that?
So moved.
Taylor moves and Amy seconds. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Motion for the drug and alcohol testing of students for the 2021 school year. May I have a motion for that?
So moved.
Amy moves. May I have a second?
I'll second.
Terry seconds. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Motion carries. May I have a motion to approve the school resource officer agreement for the 2021 school year? Can I have a motion?
I'll motion.
Terry makes the motion. Can I have a second?
Second.
Who said Brian? Brian second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next up is the removal of textbooks and library materials from inventory. May I have a motion for that?
So moved.
Brian moves. May I have a second?
Second.
Amy seconds. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Career and technical waiver resolution for the 2021 school year. May I have a motion for that?
So moved.
Taylor moves. May I have a second?
Second.
Amy seconds. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Motion for a resolution approving the paper administration of the third grade English language arts assessment for the 2021 school year. Can I have a motion for that?
I'll motion.
Terry motions. Can I have a second?
Second.
Taylor seconds. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And the authorization on a per diem rate for the transition services for Bethany as she gets ready to fill the superintendent's position. May I have a motion for that?
So moved.
Amy moves, Brian seconds. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Non-agenda items, if anybody for public participation has anything for non-agenda? Seeing there's none, we will go to Mr. Dunham for the May, June, July district update.
Thank you, Mr. Wentz. I'd like to just take a moment, reflect, and thank everyone for all of the support for what I would refer to as an end of year like no other, an end of year closing. Beyond proud of how everyone pulled together to make the end of year that traditionally is showered, when you think of the end of year, showered with a lot of culminating events like banquets, programs, field days, field trips, picnics, send-offs, and of course graduation that we had the drive-up graduation on May 30th. Our staff and administration really made the best out of a really tough time to recognize students for their hard work despite COVID-19. And I've sat here for 2 months talking about from March 13th on, but the whole body of work that our staff, admin, community, parents, everyone working together in the best interest of our kids, despite, like I said, COVID-19, there was teaching and learning occurring each and every day. So I couldn't be more proud. As we end the year, please Rest assured that planning for the 2021 school year, as I mentioned about Mrs. Carlson and I, the restart, reentry plan, we're starting next week to talk about what that might look like as we receive guidance and guidelines from the state and ODE and the governor's office. It's still a very fluid situation, and it continues to change. You can think of 2, 3, 4 plans that would be on a shelf for whatever we need to do, but we will be prepared for the start of the 2021 school year. A million thanks to our administrators, to our teachers, secretaries, bus drivers, custodians, food service, and even coaches who just started last week, kind of picking up some pieces from a spring that just didn't happen. But thanks to everyone for their patience and immense caring that people have demonstrated over the last 3 months. Many thanks to the board for your support of the students, the staff, administration during an unprecedented time. And then finally for me, just many thanks to the community, to our students and staff and Board of Education for your support during the last 24 years. For all practical purposes, this is my last board meeting, and I truly couldn't be more blessed to have had the opportunity to work here and get to know everyone, and I felt I've made a difference in our community. So it's been a bittersweet time for me as I sit here, but I know the district's in very good hands with Mrs. Carlson and all of you at this on this stage tonight, and the board and Mrs. Carlson in this district is poised to move forward and do great things. So thank you again for all of your support and compassion and understanding that you've provided to me over the last 24 years. I thank you very much. Thank you.
And thank you as well, Mr. Dunham. Obviously, I've been able to be blessed to have spent 22 and a half of those years with you, either sitting in the principal seat or sitting at the helm of the district. And I'd like to publicly take this time to thank you too for just everything that you've done for the district and the community as well, for overseeing the building project that we were so blessed to have the taxpayers be able to support, and you did that while managing the day-to-day operations of the school as well. You know, I don't have enough words of gratitude to thank you for what you've done. You truly are a blessing to our community as well as to our district, and you know, I would publicly say I would, you know, do anything I could to help you and your family and stuff. And again, from the bottom of my heart, it's been an absolute pleasure to have worked with you over my last 22 and a half years, and I wish you nothing but the best into the future. So God bless you, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
At this time, I would ask for a motion to go into executive session for Ohio Revised Code 121.22 and Board Policy 0166 for the consideration and employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of a public employee. May I have a motion to go into executive session?
I motion.
Terry makes the motion. May I have a second?
Second.
Amy seconds. Mr. Phillips, roll call.
Taylor Christian,
No.
Terry Lally,
Yes.
Ralph Wentz,
Yes.
Amy White,
Yes.
Brian Bagwell.
Yes.
Board will enter into executive session at 7:24 p.m. We're just going next door to the choir room.
have kids that got headaches because they couldn't, before they got glasses. Like, I don't know how you go 2 months without that.
Okay, we're back in at 7:48 from executive session. Mr. Dunham, personnel.
Okay, thank you. I do have a number of people to recommend for your approval, starting with Jacqueline Walters. Grant a one-year limited teaching contract to Jacqueline Walters for the 2021 school year. Miss Walters will be placed on step 0 for salary purposes as per the SREA-SR Board of Education negotiated agreement. Approve Samantha McMahon to perform extended school year services for Braden Faseska for the summer of 2020. Mrs. McMahon will be paid the approved negotiated tutor rate for the 1920 school year. I have some substitute bus drivers to recommend: Paul Kubik, Keith Martig, Dave Jenkins, Lacey Kramer, Doug Wilson for the 2021 school year. Also recommend to approve Paul Kubik as an onboard instructor for the 2021 school year at a rate of $20 per hour. Recommending and approving Eric Bodine to perform bus body repairs at a rate of $28 per hour. This is approved by the Director of Transportation for the summer of 2020. Mr. Bodine will be reimbursed for supplies, which are also pre-approved by our Director of Transportation, used as per documentation received, reviewed, and approved once again by the Director of Transportation. Grant Adrian Nastasi a 2-year limited contract as occupational therapist. It's 186 days per year. Her annual salary would be $57,500 effective August 1st, 2020. I have 2 resignations. Accept the resignation of Diane Krumpak as varsity cross-country coach for the 2021 school year effective June 9th. And accept the resignation of Mark Bush, as assistant varsity cross-country coach for the 2021 school year, also effective June 9th. And later through supplementals, you'll see we'll be asking you to approve Mr. Bush as the head cross-country coach. Approve the following supplemental contracts for the 2021 school year, with an asterisk: compensation of said contract is pending official start date and subsequent completion of assigned duties as per the SREA and South Range Board of Education negotiated contract. Middle school cheerleading: Trista Hauk, Power of the Pen, Debbie Staffeld and Jacqueline Walters. High school vocal: Jeff DeCesar. Varsity softball coach: Jeffrey DeRose. Girls varsity basketball coach: Jeffrey Fischel. Assistant baseball coach: Paul Munson. Newspaper advisor: Joanne Kane. Boys assistant basketball coach: Todd Irons. Junior class advisor: Katie Adams. Assistant football coach: Nathan Toy. Freshman football coach: Brian Krumbacher. High school cheerleading: Katie Toy. Freshman boys basketball: Joe Cunningham. Boys varsity soccer coach: Zach Stamp. And varsity cross country coach: Mark Bush.
Mr. Dunham?
Yes.
We'll pull Nathan and Katie out if it's okay because of Amy.
Yes. You want me to finish this? Okay. Extended time contracts: elementary school guidance, 10 days, Cynthia McMaynard. Special ed teachers for 3 days and 2 days release time: Jennifer Amendola, Jenny Benson, Lilian Fossa-Cheka, Samantha McMahon, and Melody Quiros Cruz. And lastly, there's a resignation for the purpose of retirement of Mrs. Sandra Semko, effective September 23rd, 2020. Mrs. Semko has been an employee in the South Range Local School District Food Service Department for 22 years. Mrs. Semko has been a very effective and dedicated professional in all capacities in the food service department. She'll be missed by her colleagues and the entire South Range family. The board and I wish her a long and healthy and happy retirement.
Okay,
Personnel.
we'll pull out Katie and Nathan and do them separate. Can we have a motion to accept all of the rest of the personnel?
So moved.
Amy moves. Can I have a second?
I'll second.
Terry seconds. Mr. Phillips, roll call.
Taylor Christian?
Yes.
Terry Lally?
Yes.
Ralph Wentz?
Yes.
Amy White?
Yes.
Brian Bagwell?
Yes.
And then we will ask for a motion for Katie and Nathan separately. Can I have a motion for that?
A motion.
Terry makes the motion. Can I have a second?
Second.
Taylor seconds. Mr. Phillips, roll call.
Amy White,
Abstain.
Ralph Wentz,
Yes.
Taylor Christian,
Yes.
Terry Lally,
Yes.
Brian Bagwell.
Yes.
Okay, and just a reminder to everybody, the July board meeting was changed a couple of months back. We will be on the second Monday of July for our regular board meeting at that time. And with that, may I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Taylor moves. Can I have a second?
Second.
Brian seconds. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries, and we are adjourned. Thank you very much.